Hello there, and welcome to Dr. T for April 18th, and boy is it a doozy. As you can see, we have an incredibly difficult level 1. I suggest flaring over onto the left-hand side with your tanks, a little further away from the flamethrower than that, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in range, and I'm going to get hit by it. There we go. I don't have to worry about it. My tanks, I'm pretty sure they can handle it. But if you've got lower level tanks, you can't really absorb that extra damage. By all means, flare a little further back and they'll just kill the flamethrower from outside of its range, which will take us straight through to number 2. Number 2. So there is a boom cannon and sniper tower combo here. Throw your GBE at that. By all means, if you can, take them both out at the same time. It's the best use of the GBE, I guess. If your attacks or your abilities are such low level that you can't actually take them down, focus the boom cannon first, and just hope that the splash damage on the sniper tower will help you when you flare up to where I am flaring here, because this would be the point where you would be taking out that sniper tower. Now, if they're both there and you do have the GBE to throw a shock bomb on them, you can hit the mortar and the sniper tower with one shock bomb. You know, it should be pretty easy with luck. And then if you flare into the little corner here, you should be out of range of the mortar and the sniper tower, which are the only defenses left, and you can just shoot away at that headquarters without any real problems, which will bring us to Stage 3. Stage 3 has a scary looking boom cannon up there in the top left. Like, my goodness, it has no business being on a Stage 3. That thing is ridiculous. So take out the boom cannon on the bottom right, and that's where we'll put our tanks, as far as humanly possible away from that death cannon. I mean boom cannon of death. Death cannon. So after we take out the defenses on the beach, flare to the right, and you can actually throw a stun down and hit the cannon as well as the mortar. You can take them both out at the same time, which is fantastic, because that lets your troops move in without being molested by any of the defenses. Then once we have cleared the mortar and it'll take out the supplies, that's what they're called. I looked it up. I really did. I was like, I knew they were called supply crates, but yeah, no, supplies if you click on them. The more you know. Anyways, so if you flare up exactly where I just flared, you should be able to get your tanks into a really good position where they can shoot at the headquarters, but that boom cannon is just out of range. Now, if you have, say, 6 tanks here, you may need to kind of shuffle. If you've got shocks available, by all means keep them and have them ready just in case that bugger turns towards you. But in that area, you should be alright. Which takes us to stage numero 4. And this stage really, I don't know, it's weird. Like, it's very heavily left side loaded, and you got this shock launcher in the back that is just like crazy down. It's like the boom cannon on the last one. It has no business being there. So throw your GBE or whatever you can at it. Hopefully you can take it down. If you plan on taking out stage 5, it's going to need a bunch of GBE also. So if you need to, you know, boost your MP, it might make your life a little easier. By all means, pretty much everything on the right-hand side turns into just free, easy kills. So, like, you know, do the damage you can to that rocket launcher, the shock launcher. Even if you can't fully take the shock launcher down, at the very least you can do a bunch of damage to it. And as you get the extra GBE from doing the rest of this, you can whittle away at it until hopefully it finally falls. So flare over to the right because we want to stay away from the cannons, sniper towers, and boom cannons that are all over there on the left-hand side. And if we flare to the right, the tanks should be able to take out the machine gun and the bunker without any real problems. And then once they are done that, we can take out the last cannon that's going to have range on us, and then flare into the back corner, which will give us range on the headquarters, but won't let that cannon shoot at us. So once you're up in this position, you're pretty safe as long as that shock launcher is toast. Now, if you're like me and only have 2 tanks, you're gonna have to rely on something like, oh my god, tree, look at that! Wow, that was a crazy looking tree. Oh look, the headquarters is dead, yay! We didn't sit here and watch 2 tanks shoot at it for 2.5 minutes. So, let's go to Stage 5. Stage 5 is really pretty crazy too. If you need the extra GBE, by all means, boost that MP, because there are a lot of high-value targets on this map that need to be cleared out. And the beauty is, once you start clearing them out, because everything is so close and tight together, you get a lot of GBE back, and you can kind of keep it going. But you need to be able to take a couple of things out, and it's pretty intense. Now, the good news is there's a little bit of free GBE elsewhere on the map, so if you can't take absolutely everything out, you can kind of gather stuff as you go and eventually take it out. As you can see here, I'm trying to pop through the really scary stuff. Fortunately, I've got slightly higher level gunboat abilities, but that last boom cannon you could probably leave and get away with, but it would require a lot of fancy flaring to stay out of range, and I don't know if it's 100% there. So we lead with the shock on the beach and taking out some of the easier, freer, I guess low damage sorts of defenses, because, well, we can, and we want that GBE back for all the things we're about to do, because there's a lot of things we're about to do. If you left that last boom cannon, don't drift quite that far to the left. By all means, stick way outside of its range, because it will do horrible things. So after we take out the, I guess, first wave of defensive buildings, we're going to flare up to the top right. And then we've got this stack of defenses here, which is fantastic because one shock will take out pretty much all of it. We're able to stun all 4 sniper towers as well as the 2 mortars, and if you did leave some stuff in behind there with the second shock, you can kind of let it drift back a bit. But hopefully by clearing out all of these sniper towers and everything, it will make life nice and easy on you, because you can flare up to the very top where there aren't any boom mines. I'm using this corner a lot this time around. And then once we're up there, you've got a very low-level rocket launcher that actually has range on you, and you can clear this base with no problems. Caveat to this is, if that last boom cannon's there, you might have to re-flare, kind of jiggle things around just to make them all fall into place. But that is Stage 5 in a nutshell, and now we will move on to Stage 6. Which, nice. I love the Dark Crystal, because Stage 6 is a biatch. The boom cannons are beefy as crap. That's 30,000 plus hit points per boom cannon, which is just absurd. As well as a ridiculously high shock launcher on the beach. You've got everything is level 22. You don't have a lot of free GBE floating around in here. And scouting it out, I'm looking at those boom cannons on the left-hand side, and I'm thinking I can just slightly outrange those on the right-hand side with my tanks if I go right. And this may have been a mistake. I was hoping, because there are the low-level rocket launcher and cannons on the right-hand side, maybe I'd be able to get a little bit more free GBE for helping me take out those incredibly beefy boom cannons, because honestly, like 30,000 hit points on those bad boys makes it tough. So I figured, okay, go right. It should be doable with luck, and well, let's see the consequences of this decision. All right, let's see here. So on the right hand side, a little bit of GBE on the shock launcher first, because if my tanks aren't moving, I'm not killing anything, and my goodness, that is incredibly beefy. So we're gonna land everything smack dab right in the middle of the beach, because that's where we want them to be. And then we're gonna let our medics run in behind, and the pew-pewing begins. And it looks pretty promising at the beginning. I'm losing some medics that I see now. That would have been nice maybe a little later on, but hey, that's okay. And flaring down to the right so that we can actually start towards our path. We've kind of killed the extra stuff that we needed to, and that flamethrower is doing some damage to us. That is brutal, and I think that we're about ready to step into the boom cannons range, so I'm going to toss a shock just to lock everything up, make life a little easier, and I'm going to throw another one here so that it remains stunned while we kill it, because let's be honest, we need to kill it. And then we're going to start tossing some GBE. Unfortunately, not nearly a freak enough. Those stupid cannons still have like half health, and yeah, gonna do what we can. They're almost there. They're probably a boost away. Unfortunately, now they have range on us, and we have no GBE to do anything at all. So, it's time to run away. And I could insert a French joke here, but I don't know if anyone's French, and I don't want to offend. So, you know, insert your joke about running away here.